I used to believe that when two people decide to start a family, it brings them closer. That's what I thought when I found out I was pregnant. I imagined quiet evenings with Tom, his hand on my belly, both of us excited for our new life. But that never happened. Instead, Tom barely looked up from his laptop when I told him. "Oh," he said flatly, "that's soon. But we'll manage. Just keep working as long as you can." Okay. I was shocked. No hug, no smile, just a reminder to keep bringing in money. I worked as a cashier at a small supermarket. Not the dream job, but it paid the bills. My feet were already swelling by month 5, and standing all day was getting harder. I'd come home exhausted, hoping Tom would notice. But most nights, he was already in bed with his phone or his laptop, watching videos or texting. "Someone did the baby kick today," I asked one evening, trying to start something, anything. Tom didn't look up. MMO. Cool. That was it. One day, my manager asked if I wanted to reduce my hours. I almost said yes, but when I mentioned it to Tom, he frowned. "Emma, we need the money," he said. "You're not sick. You're pregnant. Women do this all the time." I nodded and stayed silent. But at night, I cried in the bathroom with the door locked. I didn't want to be dramatic. I just wanted to feel loved, or at least noticed. Then came the headaches, the back pain, the lightheaded moments at work where I'd hold the counter to stay upright. I called my doctor, and she told me to rest, more to stay off my feet. When I told Tom, he rolled his eyes. "Oh, come on, you're just tired. Don't make it a big deal." That was the night I started to feel like I was going through this pregnancy alone, and I had no idea. Things were only going to get worse. Days turned into weeks, and the silence between Tom and me grew heavier. At work, I was barely holding on. The long hours on my feet left my ankles swollen and aching. Every night I came home hoping for some warmth, a word, a touch, anything, but found only cold indifference. One evening, after a particularly exhausting day, I sat at the kitchen table rubbing my swollen feet. The lights were dim and Tom was sitting across from me, then shrugged. "You're fine, Emma. You're just tired. Babies don't come early without a reason." I bit my lip, fighting back tears. How could he be so heartless? At that moment, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Sarah, double quotes. "Hey, how are you holding up?" Sarah was the only person who seemed to notice my struggles. I typed back quickly. "Not good. I feel like I'm drowning." She replied almost immediately. "You're not alone. We'll get through this." Her words gave me a tiny spark of hope. But the truth was, I was running on empty. One day. At work, everything hit me all at once. I was scanning groceries when, suddenly, the world spun around me. My knees buckled and I collapsed behind the counter. Customers gasped. My manager rushed over. "Emma, are you okay?" she asked, panic in her voice. I shook my head, dizzy and weak. The ambulance came and I was rushed to the hospital. My heart pounded, not just from fear for the baby, but because I knew Tom wouldn't come and he didn't. When I opened my eyes, the room was quiet. No familiar face. No hand to hold, only Sarah sitting beside me, holding my hand. "I've got your back," she whispered. Later that day, Sarah showed me something that broke my heart. Photos of Tom with another woman, smiling, holding hands, laughing like I never existed. I wanted to scream, to cry, to disappear, but deep inside, a fire started to burn. I promised myself that no matter what, I'd fight for my baby and for myself. The days after the hospital visit were the hardest I had ever faced. Tom didn't call, didn't send a message. It was like I had vanished from his world. Sarah became my lifeline. She spent evenings at my apartment helping with chores, bringing food, and most importantly, listening. One night, as she was scrolling through social media, she froze. "Emma, look at this," she whispered, showing me a picture of Tom and a woman I'd never seen before. They were holding hands cozy in a cafe, and in another photo, they were at a hotel lobby, smiling like a happy couple. My stomach twisted into knots. "How long?" I asked. "Since a few months ago," Sarah said quietly. I couldn't believe it. While I was struggling to stay on my feet, carrying his child, he was living a lie. I felt numb yet furious. How could he be so cruel? That night I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. I thought about confronting him, but the words stuck in my throat. Instead, I started writing, pouring my pain onto paper. Every hurt, every disappointment. I needed an outlet. I also started looking for ways to make my life better. I searched online for programs that support pregnant women who need help. Sarah helped me make calls and fill out forms. Meanwhile, Tom's silence grew louder. To find his things gone, his laptop, his clothes, even the small photo frame with our wedding picture, all vanished. On the kitchen table lay a note. "You're stronger than you know. I'm sorry I'm not the man you need right now. Take care of yourself and the baby." I read it over and over. His words stung but also freed me. I wasn't just alone, I was becoming someone new. I called Sarah and said, "I'm ready. Ready to fight for myself and for this baby." After Tom left, everything felt different, heavy, yet strangely lighter. I was no longer living in the shadows of his indifference, but standing on the edge of something new. The apartment felt emptier without him, but for the first time in months, I felt a flicker of hope. Sarah helped me every step of the way. We went to doctor's appointments, set up baby supplies, and talked about the future. A future I would build on my own terms. Still, the road wasn't easy. I was alone, pregnant, and working a job that demanded more from me than I could give. My feet swelled painfully every day, and sometimes the fatigue felt unbearable, but I refused to give up. One evening, after a long shift, I returned home to find a letter slipped under the door. It was from Tom, double quotes, "Emma, I know I've hurt you. I'm sorry, but I can't be the man you want me to be right now." The letter was cold and distant, but I read on. "I'm starting a new life and I hope you find happiness. Please take care of the baby." Tears burned my eyes. I wanted to scream, to throw the letter away, but something inside told me to keep it as a reminder of what I was leaving behind. With Sarah's encouragement, I started taking small steps to improve my life. I applied for maternity benefits and found a support group for single mothers. The women there shared stories like mine, and their strength gave me courage. But there were nights when the loneliness crushed me. When I sat by the window, feeling the baby kick, I whispered promises into the darkness, promises that I would be strong, no matter what. One morning, I woke up with a sharp pain in my side. Fear gripped me as I called the hospital. The doctor said it was nothing serious, but I had to rest. Tom's absence was more painful than any physical ache. But I was learning to lean on others to ask for help when I needed it. The baby was coming, and so was my new life. The days grew heavier as the pregnancy advanced, but my determination only grew stronger. I worked shorter hours now, thanks to the support programs I had applied for. If I could really do this on my own, Sarah was my rock. But no matter how much love and support I had around me, a voice said quietly. It was Tom. My heart pounded. "I just wanted to check on you on the baby." His voice sounded distant, unsure. "I'm fine," I said, trying to keep. "I know I messed up. I'm sorry. I want to be there for you, for the baby." I wanted to believe him, but years of disappointment made it hard. Or was it just guilt? That night I sat alone, rocking my belly. The last weeks before the baby arrived were filled with a strange mix of fear and hope. Tom's occasional messages and calls kept stirring old wounds, but I had made up my mind this chapter was mine to write alone. The support group became my second family. The women there celebrated every small victory with me. The nursery being ready, the baby's first kicks felt clearly, and the tiny clothes folded neatly in the closet. One evening, I was lying in bed when I felt a sudden sharp pain. I knew the moment had come. Sarah rushed me to the hospital, holding my hand through every contraction. Hours later, after what felt like a lifetime, I heard the first cry. Our baby was here, small, fragile, but full of life. Tears streamed down my face as the nurse placed the baby in my arms. I whispered promises of love and protection. Tom never showed up. His absence was painful, but it no longer defined me in that quiet hospital room. I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Strength. I was no longer the woman who worked. Through pregnancy, ignored and abandoned, I was a mother, a fighter, a survivor. And as I looked down at the tiny face staring back at me, I knew this was only the beginning of a new, brighter story.